Hi, how's it going, everyone? I thought I'd create a follow-up video because the first video got a lot of positive feedback and people thought it was helpful. So I thought I'd create a follow-up video that I was talking about in the first video. So in case you didn't watch the first video was the Lucian Braum versus Draven Thresh game, or I titled it How to Win Lane in a Losing 2v2. So that was a more defensive lane than how I won lane when we have the more defensive, weaker 2v2. But in this game, I'll show you typically with Caitlyn, you'll always get the push. So how you win lane and push your lead when you have a pushing and more aggressive 2v2. And I thought I'd show this token, which is lane domination, be up 20% gold and XP at 14 minutes in 608 games. So I do know how to win lane, and this is all in ranked. This is in like master, grandmaster, and I play versus challengers. This is all in ranked against them, so I know how to consistently win lane. And I'll show you the fundamentals I use to win lane.
One step closer to
So
justice.
let me see. We're playing Caitlyn Tarek versus Xayah Ari, and I think Caitlyn is a hard counter to Xayah. She outranges her, she can poke her. There's not really much Xayah can do without support help. So you can freely get the push, you can freely harass this girl, freely kind of just do whatever you want, to be honest. I noticed that against any short range AD carry, Caitlyn can just get the push. Kaisa, Vayne, Twitch, I always get the push against these champs. I just harass them under tower, make them miss CS, and poke them out. So that's how I win lane on this champ.
Spawn.
Here, I'm just watching for the invade because and this is a bit of an older game because I took a break for a year because I got injured. So I thought I'd do educational content in the interim, maybe help out the community. But all the fundamentals I'm talking about apply to this day. So here you
I
still
do
want to
love a
watch out
good
for
mystery.
invades.
I'll take
You just
you
want to make
and your
sure no one's dying at level one, so you're not suddenly at a disadvantage at level one.
confession back to
Just make sure you're not getting invaded, no one's dying, etc. So here we get into lane, and what I do to secure the push as Caitlyn, this is Caitlyn specific. I do it on Aphelios as well because he has long range. But on Caitlyn, she can pretty much always get the push in every matchup, pretty much. Draven, it's more of a skill matchup who can get the push if you can auto space him, poke him out. But Caitlyn can pretty much get the push on any champ. I know people say Ashe counters her, but I never really ran into a problem with Ashe. I can go over that another time, but I don't think Ashe really is a Kate counter. I think Kate can get the push against any champ. So what you do to get the push is you auto these minions. I auto them about twice, and that guarantees that your minions will have higher HP, so it will push into them. So I auto it twice, and then you just normally last
suspect
hit.
engaged.
Once you auto the minions twice, you'll naturally get the push. You can just last hit. So you want to just last hit here. You can still look for poke. That's how you get the push. Now I'll say how you win lane on Caitlyn is one, getting the push, and two, poking the enemy champions. When you have the push, they have to focus on the CS. You don't have to CS because you already took out the minions. He has to farm these two creeps. I already farmed the other three. He still has to farm these two creeps. So while he's trying to farm these two creeps, this gives me an opportunity to auto him. So that's how you get free poke on the enemy champion. So here I get the auto. You want to save headshot because it does a lot of damage to the enemy champion. So it's like high. It's almost like Jin 4 shot. You have high damage threat with headshot, and then here I think I Q to hold my headshot. A bit of a mistake here. I get hit by the charm, but honestly it's fine. This is a GM game. This was like 700 LP, so this guy is pretty good. He's gonna follow up. There may have even been a challenger in this game. I'm not sure. Like when you're GM, you play with GM and challenger. That's just how it works. So this guy is gonna follow up. He's a good
Before
support,
bedtime.
and you want to fall. Like I know I got hit by a charm, and he immediately followed up to stun. So you don't want to waste that opportunity. You want to auto while they're stunned. I pop my HP pot here. Oh yeah. Also, on Caitlyn or any champ. This works on any champ, but I'll talk about Caitlyn here. You want to Q from Fog of War. So you'll notice I don't do it all the time, but when I have the opportunity, I will walk into the bush before queuing. If you stand in the middle of the lane and just queue them, they'll see it coming. But you want to walk into the bush. See, I walk into the bush and then I queue, and that will help you hit so many more skill shots. This is like all this adds up. I'm like a lot of this is just instinctual to me, so I have to like stop it, explain what I'm doing. But I don't even think about this at this point. These are just habits I built. You want to walk into the bush before you send your skill shot out so they can't see it coming, and then you just hit them with your ability. Okay. Here, I talked about this in the last video, but I've been ganked so many times. I know a gank could be coming. Level 2, this is like level 2 ganks, so you want to make sure you're warding. A general idea is if, imagine halfway mark, if you're past the halfway mark, you want to make sure you have vision because that gives the jungle opportunity to come gank you. So if you're past this halfway mark, you want to drop a ward here. And usually, if you're pushing hard, it's like after the second wave, I go drop a ward.
I
That's a
aim
good
to
way to
win.
remember. You can remember the time, but usually it's after second wave, I drop a ward. So I go, and the ward here is perfectly fine. It'll spot them. You don't have to ward Tribush because the thing about warding Tribush is if the jungle decides, I'll download Epic Pen in the future. Someone actually told me that I should download Epic Pen. It just lags my computer, so I don't have right now. But just try to follow my cursor. If the jungle decides to take this route where he goes through river, he'll actually dodge the Tribush ward, so that's why I ward here. It still applies to this day. Like if he decides to take the loop around, it wastes a lot of time, so but it has happened to me, so that is why I just drop a ward here. It spots any possible gank. But yeah, you want to make sure you're warding the moment you cross this halfway line. And this will be like in depth, so I'll do a lot of stopping and pausing, but since it's YouTube, you can like pause, rewind, listen to what I'm saying. But the moment you cross this half point line, you want to drop a ward so that you have vision because when you start pushing, the jungle has an opportunity to gank you. So you want vision of the jungle to see if he's coming. So that's why I drop a ward here. I try to get a Q from Falco Ward, but they see it. And then once again, this it's near the middle, but it's slightly on their side, so it will slow push into us. But as Caitlyn, you always want the push. So the way I reestablish me with the push is I auto this minion twice, or maybe two or three times. You want to auto this minion. You want to make sure that you guarantee have the push. Anytime you have more minions than the opposing team's minion, you will guarantee have the push. So I auto the minion twice to guarantee that I have the push because I want the push as Caitlyn. I'm sure you've heard 80 carry Caitlyn. She always wants to be pushing. So this is how I wave fundamentals guarantee the push. You auto the minion. I same thing as level one. You auto the minion. So once I have the push guaranteed because I autoed this
No
minion,
more cat and mouse.
I just last hit. Once you have the push guaranteed, you can kind of look for harass. So I'm looking for harass. Here I know she charmed me the first time. Don't want to get hit by that the second time. And here, see, same fundamental. I walk back in the bush before queuing. This is all habit to me, but I explain it so that you can implement it yourself. And then once you do it on repeat, it becomes habit. But you want to walk into the bush before queuing so that they don't see it coming. And then this is GM. It catches players like this off guard. It even catches challengers off guard. You're like hovering in and out of the bush, and then you decide to queue one time. They were not really ready for it. So you can catch them off guard like this. So this is what I do, free auto attack. And then here, I I'll just say this really quick. I didn't level up a spell because I know I've been ganked in this position. A gank could be coming, so I save it in case I need E. But ideally, in a pure 2v2, I want my W because you'll see why. If Tarek gets a stun, you want to layer your W. This is Caitlyn specific. You want to layer your W on top of the CC. And this is the same for like If you have a Mumu support, I know they don't really run that anymore, but if you have a Mumu support, any Morgana support, Lux support, any support with CC level 2 you want traps, for this exact reason, you'll get a free kill if your team lands the CC.
One down.
So, but just to cover a couple things, I just want to summarize. I didn't level up a spell in case I get ganked because I know if I'm pushing, jungle might come gank me. So I didn't level up a spell. But the moment I see him hit his CC, I level up my W and then place it down, and then he's just guaranteed dead. He wastes flash, even grandmasters
One
burn
down.
like use flash for no reason. They waste flash. And then here, once we kill him, we push in the waves because we want to reset. So just push the wave in and then recall. It also is helpful to drop a ward here to spot on the wave pushing out into you on the reset if the jungle is gonna come gang. So this is a bit higher elo. Like in lower elo, you don't have to worry about this. You can get the other fundamentals down, but as you get higher elo, jungles can come. They will lane gank you or they'll cover a pushing out wave. So you just want to
Did
ward for
not disturb the
this.
crime scene.
And then here, buy items, run back to lane, etc. You can look mid. I sometimes look mid. And the reason why I look mid is not only to see what's happening, but they're busy fighting. So I'm looking at the map, looking here. If I see someone coming, like say Ari is right here, I'll ping it like careful once like I'll just be the third party watching over them to make sure that they don't die. Like here, I see him chasing, but I saw Zaya roaming on the map, so I ping him careful because he's probably not looking at the map. He's just fighting on his screen. But I ping missing here just to not over chase because Zaya could be there. So that's a good habit to have. You can like watch over your teammates. And here you want to slow push out. This is just good habit to have in general early game. When you're over here, you want to slow push, and slow push is just last hitting. Don't hit anything but your minions, but the enemy minions at the last second. And the reason why you want to do this is because it helps build up as big of a wave as possible. And with a big wave, you have time to roam. You have time. Obviously, you wouldn't really roam on Caitlyn, but your support wants to roam, do drags. You have a big wave, and they have to farm this big wave under tower, which gives you a lot of time. But what I like to do as Caitlyn, which is the reason why I actually win lane more, is because with a big wave, I'm able to poke the enemy champion under tower and poke the enemy champion. This is honestly what you're just supposed to do as Caitlyn, so it's not like a me thing, but you poke the enemy champion with this big wave. So you'll see
Let's
I
crack
stack
this
up
case
a
wide
big
open.
wave. Well, I slow push, and then you'll see I stack up a big wave. So you see I'm not autoing anything. I'm only autoing for last hits. Only autoing for last hits. Uh, And then we have Rammus coming, ping it's warded.
You
But
cannot
still, I'm
outrun
only
this.
autoing for last hits. And this actually helps as well, because as you'll see, this blue minion right here, which is your team, it bleeds CS. So this is how you get a CS lead from a slow push as
You
well.
cannot
So all
outrun
this
this.
adds up. All the poke, all the slow push, all the missing CS adds up to a CS lead. So you'll see 30, it's a little bit fast, but you'll see uh, 32 to 20. I already have a 12 CS lead 4 minutes into the game because of a slow push. She probably missed like 3 or 4 minions, and I hard pushed that wave, so she missed that wave after she died. But you want to just slow push as much as possible, all these minions at the last second. I'm always like, I'm always paying attention to the map as I'm laning. You don't have to do this. Like, this is just way more advanced. But I'm looking at the map like this is more advanced. I'll just cover the lane itself, but that is something I noticed.
It's my business to
But you
know
want
what
to just
others do
slow
not.
push, slow push. You want to watch for the map so you don't get jungle ganked, and you want to ward to make sure
It's my
you're
business
not
to know what others do not.
at risk of dying. But you just slow push. See, I have a bigger wave. She thins it down. Here, I want to see now. I don't have to CS. This is from the previous wave. This is the new wave. She has to farm all this. My new wave is coming in. So while she's trying to farm this, this is when you have the opportunity to harass her and use it as your own discretion. auto space, yada yada yada. But this is the timer where she has to CS. You don't have to CS. You can just freely auto her. So I auto her, auto her. I see Ari coming, so I E away. This is like more mechanical. But Taric gets a flash, and this I want to just cover this. Anytime, this is Caitlyn specific, but anytime your team has CC, your support, your jungle, just any point in the game, you want to stack your trap on top of the enemy champion when they're CC'd. So it's the same thing I did early game. You want to save your trap for when the CC comes. And here now, since we killed her, we can look for a dive opportunity. But I do think they have a Shen, so we have to be careful for his ulti.
As expected.
But in the interim, just hit. But if they do decide to dive, be ready with a trap. Save a trap for the CC always, at least one. That's like a good habit to have. Saving trap for when they CC. So if he's taunted, I can drop a trap. And then this is also Caitlyn specific. This has nothing to do with winning lane. This is more Caitlyn specific, but I thought I'd cover it. Anytime they're trapped, you want to Q. You get max damage, and then you get the auto. It's just better to Q auto while they're trapped. It comes out faster, I believe. But here he gets away. Shen
Please maintain a
ulted.
proper chain of command.
Now I kind of want to stay. I guess I could recall for pickaxe,
Be
but
good while I'm gone.
I don't want to miss any of these minions. I don't want to miss this cannon. So I actually opt to stay. I think it's too late to recall. The minions are already here. I don't want to miss any minions. I'm already winning. So I opt to stay and look for a bush cheese. This is like higher elo, like more advanced stuff, I guess. But she thinks I recalled because this is the time I recall. So since she thinks I recalled and normally I would recall, I actually opt to not recall to see if we can bush cheese kill her because she thinks she's safe 1v2, but we don't actually get her because this Tarek has no flash and she's just like standing far from the bush. But the moment she uses her spells, we go in here.
I love a
We
good
try,
fight.
but it doesn't work. But it's fine. The whole point is I wanted this wave. I didn't want to lose any minions. So this was just like secondary. It would be nice if we get a kill because she's not expecting it. But this is just secondary. I just want the minions. So we get the minions. Hold on, let me just see if I'm still recording. Okay. So we get the minions. Want to make sure you get as much CS as possible on 80 carry. Ideally 10 CS per minute. Honestly, you don't have to get 10, at least 8. I recommend try to get at least 8 CS and you know you're doing fine. I typically range from like 9. So I don't even get 10 because a lot of times I actually opt in to fight more. I go for kills. That's honestly just how I played. And then I learned macro because I play for fun, so I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. But as long as you get 8, 9 CS, that's perfectly fine. You don't have to average 10, but
I
try
will
for
not
10.
tolerate
So you
lawlessness.
want to get as many minions as possible. And here I overstayed. I wanted as many minions as possible, so I want to do is fast push and recall. Because I'm sitting on a lot of gold, so I want to just push this wave ASAP and get a recall in. I'm missing a little bit too many minions carelessly, but the idea is to recall here. So we recall here. I'm always paying attention to the map. This is just something I do. This isn't, you don't have to do this as AD carry, but it does help when you're high elo to think about the game as a whole. I'm watching Kindred to see if she's on the mark. I want to ping it just to be sure so we're all aware.
This is where you yield.
Here, get the CS, get the CS, and then it's rinse and repeat the same thing. You just slow push. Sometimes it changes if your team, this isn't happening now, but if your team wants drag, you hard push this wave so then you can go move for drag. But in a pure 2v2, you just slow push every wave, stack as many waves as possible, and then pressure under tower with that big wave. It's literally just that on repeat, but I'll show you how exactly I do it and what I do. Here,
I
make
cannot
sure
afford to
Kindred can't take
falter.
the mark after Dragon. But yeah, I just go back to slow pushing, last hitting. Want to make sure you can stack as big a wave as possible, and you bleed CS. So here, because of the slow push and the wave management, I'm up 17 CS now. Here, see, he missed 2 minions, so this all adds up. It all adds up,
Even the
so it might
smallest
not seem
thing
like
can
much,
break a
but it all
case.
adds up. Now I'm up 19 minions, assuming you get the last hits as well. This guy just full sends it. I mean, I try to follow up on it, get a trap, but I wasn't in range, so I just Q max range before before the CC ended. Here, they're really damaged, so I send an ult when this is something I think Kates can do more often, but I ult early because I know it's not gonna kill, but it just puts so much more pressure on them. They're much lower now. Like look at their HP, they're much lower. Here, what I want to do, and I do this quite often, uh to it's more psychological, but this guy, in case he wants a recall, I just immediately hard shove the wave, and if he does recall, he immediately misses his wave, but sometimes they see me shoving, so they stay because they don't want to miss the wave. So I just do that to kind of bait them in because I want them to stay because they're low. So I immediately start hard shoving the wave, and see, he doesn't recall. So it keeps him in lane in
Turn
this
left
state, and this
untapped.
state is super winning for us. So we want to keep them here. So I hard normally if it was even wave state, I would slow push auto dominion twice to guarantee the slow push. But because I want to keep them in this state, I immediately hard shove. If they do recall, we have a wave immediately under tower and they immediately start missing it. But if they get baited into it because they don't want to miss the wave, so then they
Turn
stay
left
in this
untapped.
state and it's just so favorable. So this is what I'm doing. This is Grandmaster, so this guy's falling for this trick, and it can apply. This is just wave management. This has nothing to do with mechanics. This is pure wave management, knowing in this state what do you do. So here, I know they're very I have high kill pressure. They're low. So instead of hitting the tower, I save this headshot. I walk in. I just auto them. This is when I can play a lot more aggressive. I am an aggressive player, so this is when I can play a lot more aggressive. I trap here, and I know you can trap here, but I trap here because it puts a lot of pressure on them. It cuts off, they can only walk here, they can only walk here, they can barely walk here. Like it cuts off all room for them to safely walk. If they're not paying attention for even a second, misclick once, they're gonna step on a trap and die. So I just create this wall of pressure that puts even more pressure on these guys, and they're just hiding under tower. Here I don't even mind taking a charm. I don't cleanse it because I have refillable and Tarek's healing, so I don't care. I'll take any trade at this point. I don't mind face tanking a charm. Here I hold my headshot, and look, I'm literally it's making the game so unplayable for them. In the other video, I had to play a lot more defensive, but with Caitlyn, you can play a lot more offensive, make the game unplayable. The only thing is you have to watch for jungle ganks, but we have a ward out. They're super low. If Kindred does decide to gank, these guys are so low, it's hard for them to follow up. So we can play as aggressive as we want. We can literally walk in their tower. I don't mind tanking tower because any trade I have sustain. I don't mind damage them even a little bit. Here, try to Q him. He ults. We burn ulti.
Surrender now.
And they're just too low to do anything. Unless their Kindred comes, bails them out. But their Kindred can't even bail them out because look at their HP. Like, if their Kindred comes, we can just 3v2 them. So it's literally unplayable. Just pressure
Surrender
as hard
now.
as possible when you have a winning state. That's pretty much what I do. I just pressure as hard as possible without dying. That's what I was on a league team, a collegiate team, and they told me it's fine to play aggressive, but just don't die. So that's the philosophy I take.
Crime scene
As
investigation.
aggressive as possible without dying, and that's what leads me to winning lane. You just have to know how to do it, and a lot of it is wave management. It's not even yeah, my mechanic saves me at certain points, helps me win fights per se, but it's wave management, knowing here I'm super winning. We have sustain with Tarek. I have refillable. I can just walk up. I can eat this charm. I can walk into tower. None of it really matters. This is all just game knowledge and knowing.
Boom.
I
Headshot.
can auto this guy for free. I can do whatever because they're just so low. So that was that. I know it's called a turn. So that was that turn. walking back to lane, looking here. I still look here, not only to see what's going on, but once again, if mid's coming, I'll ping this guy that mid's coming. It's like it might not change the outcome. He might not even see it, but it might be helpful. So you never know. It has helped in the past, so I won't say it's not helpful. It actually is helpful, I think. Here, I just start pressuring. And normally I slow push, but the moment it hits about 10 minutes, I just start crashing waves. Once I have an item, I start crashing waves and pressuring under tower. You don't need a slow push anymore. Slow push is like pre 9 minutes, but once it hits 9, 10 minutes, you want to start pressuring the map. And the reason why you want to pressure the map is because one, well, in this case, the jungler died. Two, so that's how I know it's a pure 2v2, unless it's the mid roams, but assuming it's just 2v2, the reason why I push the waves now rather than slow pushing is because I am so strong. I have high AD now, 148. Early game, you have like 100. Now I have 148. My damage
The
to these
law
towers
bends to
means
no
more,
one.
so I'm going to start pressuring. Here, we see Ari, she's missing. Okay, she's back in lane, but she like roamed or something. She was warding. So this is something I do as Caitlyn.
The law
I
bends
ult them early as the waves coming in
for
to
no
threaten a
one.
dive. I just want to pressure as much as
Okay.
possible, put as much damage out as possible. I know it's pure 2v2, Kindred's dead, so I just go back to hitting this tower. And once again, I create the trap wall. I know you can save traps, I know you can trap here, but sometimes I just put traps here, so it really limits movement in terms of where they can click, and they have to risk walking into a trap. Here, they try to make a play on us, I guess, with Shen. This is we have Terracold, so I walk out, and I see a lot of people do this. You want to completely disengage even if he's on the Taric, if this guy decides to E me, even though he's autoing Taric right here, if he decides to E me right now, I'll get taunted and die. So you want to completely disengage, completely stay out of range of anything that can kill you. This is more. I'll go over the mechanics. This is also mechanics. I'll go over like team fight map. This isn't really mechanics. This is like how I position in team fights. You want to completely disengage what can kill you. If this is a Nautilus, you want to space him. I'll get Epic Pen in the future so it's easier to see, but just try to follow my cursor. You want to space him as much as possible until he uses, in this case, it's his taunt, until he uses his taunt, and then that means it's safe to go in. And also, this is just like limit testing and understanding positioning. But some people might run here, hit this Shen, run back over here. But I know my damage. I know I can kill these two. So instead of going on Shen, I opt to go on the Ari, kill her, and then I go on Zaya. So that's just like team fighting, knowing your champion's limits. It goes back to limit testing. I talked about this in the Lucian video. But instead of going on Shen and kiting back here, focusing the Shen, I just see these guys, know I can kill them. Boom, I go on them and I just kill them both. So here I try to save him, but it still worked. Like, even though I didn't save him, we got 2 for 1 and they use Shen ulti in a 3v2. It is
By the
worth.
book.
So you wanna I push this wave in, recall in it. Yeah, look, if you see the scoreboard, I'm up. Oh shoot. Well, let me see if I
By
can
the
do
book.
this. I'm up. I'm up 40 CS, 4-0. They just Shen ulted, and we didn't really get Joan ganks. This is pure 2v2 wave management, pressuring them, making it really unplayable for these two. So this is what you can do when you want to be the aggressor and completely dominate the lane. So this is how you like not just win it, but get kills, 40 CS lead, completely dominate. And this is high elo. I know I said it, but it's like GM. I do these same things to GM. I've done it to challenger players. I obviously can do it in master and diamond and below, but it even works. These fundamentals work at the highest rank. You just completely gap these people, completely dominate them. They can't even play the game. So here, recall
Long
by
arms the
Berserker
law.
Greaves. It's helpful for movement speed. And once again, once it hits 10 minutes, I no longer slow push. I just start crashing waves because I'm strong enough to make meaningful damage on the tower without the extra minions. And I just want to pressure immediately. That's why I start crashing. I just want to pressure immediately because I'm strong now.
Me,
So you want to crash and
met by
pressure.
a long shot.
Here, completely take out the wave. There's no point in freezing post 12 minutes. I'm trying to take out this tower as soon as possible. In the other video, I froze because they were stronger and I couldn't push out. But in this video, since I'm stronger, I don't know why I'm holding it. Oh, it's because the Rammus is here. Oh yeah, see, normally I would just immediately push crash, but since Rammus is right here, you want to start implementing jungle as well. I keep these two minions, so instead of if I just took out these two minions, the wave would meet back in the middle. But by keeping these two minions here, the wave will be over here, so it sets up this jungle gang. So that's what you want to do. You still want to keep to your plan, but you want to adapt to what's going on the map. If your jungler is right here, rather than randomly pushing, if you have minions right here, you can freeze the wave so that now they have to walk up all the way over here to CS. Normally, if I took out these minions, they'd have to be here, and it makes it a little bit harder. But since it's over here, this guy has more room to work with. So you just want to be aware of that. So that's how you set up ganks for your jungle. Here he just full sends it, and we get a free kill on Ari. A little unlucky. The Kindred's here. She counter ganks. I don't. I kind of walk back up, but that's how you set up that gank. And then here they Rift Herald. Let's see. Just want to farm the minions. Here Oh yeah, and normally some people would recall this is you can call this greedy. I do this a lot,
It's time,
and
Neptune.
it's honestly fine if you can track the enemy team. But I know they're on
Let's
drag.
talk.
Normally you recall here, be safe. But since I know they're on drag, like I can safely assume these guys are on drag because they were just bought and they're gonna want to be on drag. I push out this wave. It's a bit greedy, but see they took out drag. I try to push the minions to get the minions
Not
in
just
this
yet.
case, and then I E trap to get out. In this case, I actually think I die for it, but I actually do this a lot, and I actually get away with it. But in this case, I greeted for like one more minion and died. It was pretty close. They commit Shen ulti for it. I mean, if you want to go over the mechanic side, I wait until I'm in the bush before queuing. And the reason why I do this is because if I queue while I'm outside the bush, she can auto me when I stop moving. But if I Q in the bush, I can get a Q auto off. But I got Shen ulted. And she actually dies for it, so I'll say worth. Lol. But you probably shouldn't die for that if you're gonna push that wave.
I
And
always aim
here,
to
I
win.
go back bot lane. Lane phase is almost over, so it's probably almost the end of this video. But
Brilliant.
if people find this helpful, I can go over mid game as well. Mid game is a little bit more complicated because I mean it's not super complicated. I just siege towers mid game. Um, but here just go back bot lane and then Shen's here. I trap to make sure if he taunts me, and then we just get tower. But that's how you effectively win lane as Caitlyn and push the advantage super hard. I know I had one mistake right here because I greeted, but if you look at the scoreboard, 14 minutes, I'm up 40 CS, 6 and 1, 2 and 4. So I hope this was helpful in terms of the wave management I use and how hard you can pressure when you know you have a lead and how to really apply pressure on these guys and really win this lane when you're playing a favorable matchup. Like this, ideally, if you're playing favorably, you want to pressure these guys as hard as possible without dying, obviously. And then it can lead to outcomes like this if you master it. So I hope this video is helpful. I'm going to release one more video talking about some tips I use to get better mechanics. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful. All right, have a good day.